Pali mai kia ora koutou mata e te whana. We've already had the whakatauki for us, and as I said, that started today's proceedings. So we will just head straight into council agenda if we can. So, well done, Councillor Finch. Lovely to see you here. We have no apologies. Does anyone have any late items or urgent business? I have one, and it's that I would like to move that we send a letter of acknowledgement and appreciation and congratulations to Calder Stewart, wishing them all the very best for their recently announced inland port. I think as a council that we should be right in behind the development of this, and what a magnificent gesture there, just a magnificent belief that they're showing in the district and the rural economy. So I'd like to move that. Can someone please second? Yes. Seconded, Councillor Finch. All those in favour? Aye. Those against. Now, declarations of interest. I have to declare a declaration of interest for agenda item number 1. I'm on the Gore Clutha Women's Refuge, so I'll just be stepping down and Councillor Payne will run the first agenda item. Does anyone else have a declaration of interest? If not, public forum. I see that Mr. Barrett's here. If you wish to speak, Phil, welcome. The floor is yours.
Yeah, good afternoon. You all know who I am. And believe it or not, I actually don't like keep turning up here, but I just felt that I had to a wee bit. I'm here to actually offer a wee bit of help, a bit of advice. So after the recent submission hearing that we had here, I was left sort of confused by the question, which council had pushed back harder against the government than the Clutha district? Because I was wanting for some support for our ratepayers. This article, I didn't make copies because I wasn't allowed to give them to you. This article was in Radio New Zealand News 2022. And what it says was 3 Waters, Gore, Clutha and Central Otago mayors put jobs on the line by refusing to reject the reforms. And it's an article about just before the election, I believe. Many of the voters in Gore and Clutha and Central Otago virulently opposed changes which shift drinking water waste. You know the story. That was the article that I was referring to. As far as I can see, I haven't seen any evidence of the council pushing back against these things. You're pushing to comply. And I haven't, so that's what I was referring to. The article for 22 is one of the many that I was referring to, and as a basis for me questioning about your pushback. This council made headlines for not only not pushing back, but ignoring a growing amount of ratepayers that did not want that version of 3 Waters being presented. So I went on to watch the live stream of the entire day after I spoke that day, and I watched the Risk and Assurance and Standing Committee meetings the following day, and there was some discussion in the Risk and Assurance Committee regarding council communication. And for those of you who don't know, this was actually part of the Mayor's message within the annual plan consultation. I'll just read it. A new and disturbing trend appeared with last year's LTP, and we had no doubt that the same will happen this year, where a small and often confused group insisted on running their own public meetings and Facebook unfounded accusations ahead of council's fully audited and fact-check process. Our sympathy goes out to all of you, all of those of you, that are unnecessarily upset or influenced by this group. We are legally obliged, we're obligated to go to extraordinary lengths to ensure the information you receive is scrutinised and factually verified. To have the entire process stained and distorted is frustrating. So, being quite proactive, I contacted the Auditor General, and he told me that the long-term plan was definitely not audited, and neither was our recent annual plan. And the reason for it is the same as what our CEOs told me, is it's based on a lot of assumptions and budgets that you have to make, so you can't audit those because you don't know what the numbers are just yet. The truth is, the mainstream media are actually failing with a lowering trust rate every time the polls come out. And more people are actually choosing alternative media and Facebook groups to source their information. That simple passage, although aimed at certain groups, instantly alienated all Facebook users that felt a little belittled from the new podium of truth. Now, during the live stream, Mayor Cadogan also had a go at one of the founding members of Crownsville, New Zealand, stating that his actions led to the financial mess the council was in, which is simply ridiculous. As the numbers are hard to find, they're not very well reported, but it was almost 58% of the country did not want that version of Three Waters. But once again, that instantly alienated the 65,000 people that follow and support this rural legend. And to do that in a predominantly rural community will not win you any support. And spouting numbers after the event seems crazy, as time after time when we asked for these numbers, the answer was always the same. We do not know the cost as the entity has not been formed, and the fact that once formed, the entity would recover all costs by charging the end user for water. That point was hardly ever mentioned. So basically, I'm here today to answer the questions that you're asking in the risk and audit thing, is why people aren't picking up your bits of paper that you're putting in the letter boxes, and why people aren't engaging with the council. And it's quite simple. People can't be bothered being put down or berated for having an opinion other than that's coming out of this council building, and bothering to read assumptions and guesswork and budget that ultimately fail or come back here to be voted on for another heap of money to finish a project. It's simply not worth your time. Now, on the 5th, there was a late agenda item brought to the council. I'm still getting my head around that. To remove or dehook the council's use of sustainability within the consultation documents. I can tell you now that live stream didn't go down well with anyone that watched it. But rather than to concentrate on that, what I am going to concentrate is a meeting at a Tautau tonight where Mayor Rob Scott is going to explain why his version of keeping everything in-house instead of joining a CCO is actually sustainable and good for the district, because I'd like to hear his views on that, just to be informed. I thank you for your time, and I'll take some questions, please, if you want them, otherwise I'll leave.
Questions, councillor? No questions. Thank you very much, Phil.
Thank you.
Right, Kenny, we're going to have to change.
Okay. All right, team, thank you, Your Worship. Item number 1, Gore and Clutha Refuge Funding Reallocation Report. Looks like, Kelly, you're going to speak to it.
Excuse me, just before this starts, do I have to declare now that I exclude myself from the vote now? What is it? Now I should say that I'm excluding myself before it even starts.
You did that. Right.
You did it and I'll note it in the minutes.
Sorry,
Good afternoon, everyone. Lily has declared a conflict of interest on this item as well, so I'm presenting on her behalf. So what's before you today is a decision you've made previously to support the Gore and Clutha Whānau Refuge Centre with $35,000 allocated under last year's LTP. That was part of a multi-agency funding agreement that unfortunately did not come through. The question before you today is whether you continue to fund them at that $35,000 as you have before, or whether you'd like the money to return to CDC for reallocation. I'm happy to take the paper as read and hopefully answer any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. Councillor Ludeman, your hand up straight away.
Okay, so I want some clarification. Do we still annually give them funding here for operational funding? So I want to do we in the amount? I kind of think in this perhaps we do. So if we were to reallocate that, that's actually giving them an additional 35,000. Have I read that right?
If they are asking for funding, it will be on the rest of the meeting minutes. This is this item only.
But yes, I know it's this item only, but I want to know what they're already receiving.
I think the point that we're trying to make in writing the report was that there was unfortunate wording in the resolution that tied the 35,000, which they previously had each year, to that particular project. And so we wanted to point out to you that if you just thought it as a project by project related side of things, you would miss the fact that the same amount of money is what was the annual funding.
That's probably the clarity I wanted, just to make sure that, that there's only the 135. Thank you.
There's a question, Councillor Martin. Oh,
Sorry, point of order.
Sorry, got a point of order.
Point of order, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Oh. Can we address the speakers?
Yes, we can.
Get the sound.
Let's see.
Just ask the auditorium and do a test. Can you hear us?
Is that better?
Can you hear us?
You might need to be speak closer to the microphone, Kelly.
It's not working. Is that better?
There's a microphone.
Lights on?
Might just need to speak louder, Kelly.
Maybe test. Can you hear it now?
I can hear you, but I can't hear that man at all.
Get your speaker. Sorry.
I'll speak a bit louder for you.
All right, further questions. There was one from Councillor Martin, I believe.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Kelly, you mentioned multiple agencies. Who were the other agencies? Please, you can refresh everyone.
Actually, I'm afraid I can't remind you. I would need to check with Lily who those agencies were.
Do you think they're government agencies? Or?
Yes.
So has the government taken a backward step on this project, on this proposed?
I'm
Action
afraid I
plan.
wouldn't know that. Yeah. I mean, obviously, government funding has changed in many different areas, so this is probably just a casualty of those changes.
Councillor Finch.
Thank you. I see that they do Loves Me Not program, but that is only at the South Otago High School, and consent and healthy relationship talks, and that's only given to Telford. Do you know why that's not done around the whole district?
No, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Okay, thank you. It's just an issue for me if they're only doing just one area.
Right, no further questions. Councillor Mackie.
Is this a, going forward, like, it's not the first time this has come up, but is this a core business of council?
I think that's a decision for the council to make for themselves. Where exactly the line is drawn between doing community work, where that is essential and where that is optional, I don't think it's probably the place to make a comment on that.
And through you, Mr. Chairman, I mean, it's the same argument you've got about any grants to any community groups or anything like that. That's all that other part of what council does. You wouldn't describe them as core services, but they are services that council supports.
Yeah, Councillor McCrosty.
Kelly, do we still have a refuge house in Balclutha?
There are accommodation services, but not, I believe, refuge. But I would need to confirm that.
Yep, for both male and female.
Again, I'd need to confirm that.
Councillor Ludeman, I see you.
So, I mean, can the mayor perhaps answer any questions? There was a refuge house here in Balclutha, and I would like to know, as part of my decision making, if that refuge house is still here and operating.
A very fair question.
Yeah.
Perhaps I can.
Yeah, no, certainly we know that, I won't say where it is, but there's definitely in Balclutha a house. It's not a safe house, it's kept quiet because They find in the tiny towns within a month or two of setting that structure up, everyone knows it anyway. So there's the, I think it's called a residence house, but for all intents and purposes, what you see as Women's Refuge, there's a house in Clutha and we're now pushing for a second one. 2 staff members down there.
Okay, no further questions. Any discussion, I guess? Somebody willing to move a motion?
Just under discussion.
Okay, Councillor Martin.
Chair. So the funding was originally for a men's safe house, not a woman's.
Motion to.
Yeah, so I don't see why the other safe house is relevant to this particular item. This is solely for men.
Sorry, I haven't got the answer.
Just for clarification, councillor, the project that had originally been supported was a one-off project that they looked for support for the men's one,
Yeah.
right? Every other year or previous years, we've been supporting operationally to the same amount. The unfortunate thing in the resolution was that it just tied it to that project without reference to the operational funding. And the reason why Councillor Ludeman asked the question before, it was confirming that there's still existing facilities within Clutha that's run by the Women's Refuge.
Right.
Councillor Bolwell, you get back.
I was just going to say it wasn't actually a safe house for men, it was a house for men to go to so their partners, families could stay in the family home while they had been removed under women under protection.
Oh, we've got somebody that would like to move a motion.
I've got another question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm about to. So, I mean, this has been approved, the funding previously. Where did that funding come from? What last time? Was it investment surplus?
It's in here.
Page 7.
The motion at the bottom of page.
Yeah.
Councillor Bolwell.
Well, I'm happy to move that council approves the reallocation of funding as approved in the long-term plan used towards the operational costs of the services as it was happening previously to that.
Thank you, Bruce. We've got a seconder, Councillor McCrosty. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? So moved. That was both recommendations.
Sorry, yes,
Yeah. Thank you.
Just before you leave, Kelly, I just had to mention to council, this will be Kelly's last council meeting. So he's off to some interesting endeavour that he's chosen to leave us for. Haven't you, Kelly?
So firstly, my apologies for not having all of the answers for you in that item. I felt quite embarrassed not being able to give you better information. So thank you, Steve. Yes, I'm joining SID, so Southern Youth Development, as their CE. I'm really looking forward to that challenge, but I have to be honest, it was a very hard decision to leave council. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. There's some really important work, particularly in community, and some really good people here. So I am, not entirely happy to be leaving. But I have very much enjoyed working with you.
You'll be missed.
Thank
Can
you,
I-
Kelly.
can I-
Good luck.
Can I, on behalf of the whole organisation and especially the political arm of what you've been doing with the community plan, thank you for your efforts and wish you well for the future. Can I ask what position it is?
See you.
See you.
Huh?
Yeah.
Guess what? I got down to the last 2 and failed, so I didn't become a leader.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, all the best, Kelly. Okay, everyone, if we could please turn to page 8, elected members' remuneration update.
Rather than Sharon get up, we'll just take the report as read, Your Worship. There's 2 options that we've proposed. I mean, if you want to think of another one, you could, but you don't have a choice about reallocation. You do have to do it, even if you might say you don't want to. You do it in these times or whatever. The Remuneration Authority has dictated that you can't not redistribute it. So that's it.
Discussion team, or sorry, questions first and then discussion. Any questions? Discussion, councillor Grant.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think we all share the load from Kevin resigning, so I would be more interested in the equal amongst the remaining executive.
So number 3 as such.
Yep.
Done.
I'll second that.
No, I won't. Well, were you having a go at moving it first?
Well, yeah, if so be it.
I'm both 1 and 3. Just accepting the report and then 3. And you okay to second both 1 and 3? So, okay, we've got the recommendations coming through, that we received the report and that we're allocated evenly across the board, 13,797. Discussion. Vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Resident survey 2025, ye or Peter, ye, welcome. Order please, team.
Kia ora koutou. I just have one addition to make on my report, which is that we found another one of these targets that was actually an LTP target, and that is on the average speed residents feel they can safely travel on unsealed roads. So that will just be an addition to my report on page 12 under 1.1. And just for your reference, in the LTP, we noted that as 60 to 70 kilometers per hour, and that was met this time around as it was last time. So with that in mind, Refuge, happy to take any questions for your worship.
Questions, please. No questions. Please hang around though, just in case one comes up through the discussion. Sure. Discussions team. I'll move things along by moving that we received the report. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconder, Councillor Finch. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Now if we get to the main part of the report, we've got 2 more recommendations there. I'm happy to take both of them if someone's that way inclined.
I have a question.
Question 2.
For a start. Just on page 21, it mentions sampling. It's just randomised database of telephone numbers covering the Clutha district.
Yep.
Are they landline numbers or are they include?
So I believe that it's largely landline based. We had a discussion with TrueWind, and apparently that is still the preferred sampling methodology. But I can confirm with a breakdown of this council meeting if you wish. But I believe it's almost entirely composed of landline numbers.
It just might be something we have to look at in the future as to how we conduct our sampling, because there's a lot of people, myself included now, don't have landlines, and I think it's possibly more so with the younger people in the district too who won't have landlines. So it's just something that perhaps we need to be aware of as we go forward.
Yeah. And through your worship, it is something that we actually discussed with the research company TrueWind prior to this year's, and it will be something that we'll discuss next time. They did note that what they do is they call on a household basis, so they do try to get that sampling down to when they call a household, they don't necessarily just take the result from the person that's there. They'll ask, is there someone in your household that is within this age group, for example, that can feed back? But we raised the issue that there is obviously kind of a decreasing number of users of residential lines as well. And I think it is something that they are aware of going forward.
Thanks very much.
Councillor McTammany.
Yeah, I'll just say that I was rang on my phone while I was shifting sheep one day to do the council survey, and I had to politely say that I had better not do it.
Put a glowing report.
So that was on your cell phone?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, either further questions or discussion. Is there any team? If Councillor Gray.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I noticed with the satisfaction with elected members, blah, 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 takes a real dive just as we got into Three Waters. I'm just wondering if there's anyone else has noticed that. Maybe there's that might tell a story.
And it's reflected right across New Zealand, that same
Yeah.
dynamic.
And yet the satisfaction has improved since last year. So we're trending up.
Statistics, eh? I'm still looking for someone to hit me with a recommendation or two. Councillor
Happy to
Finch.
move them.
So we've done one, I just need 2 and 3. Seconder, please. Councillor Herbert, discussion on either of the recommendations? Put them both to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Over to page 71, where we've got the confirmation of the meeting, council meeting on the 3rd of April. I'm happy to move them as a true and correct record. Is someone prepared to second, please? Councillor Graham. Any discussion? All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you.
Excuse me, on page 80, number 16, it's got Chief Executive's report. It should have Acting Chief Executive. And then below that the Acting Chief Executive's report dated the 3rd of April.
Yeah. Just those minor ones, just if you've got ones like that, just see Julie or the CEO. With those in mind, I'll still hold at that vote, but it's not fundamental to the vote. So heading over to page 84, Corporate and Policy Committee meeting held on the 1st of May. Someone prepared to move? Councillor Ludeman, true and correct records. Councillor Phelps, seconded. Any discussion? Put to the vote, all those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, thank you. Corporate and Policy Committee meeting. Yeah, resolutions. Sorry, I'm reading my notes on it as well.
Yeah.
My apologies, I wrote something there and I'm not following it. Have we got to move in a second? Please move Councillor Ludeman, seconded by Councillor Finch. Discussion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against. Same for infrastructure and strategy on the same day. Move Councillor Graham, seconded Councillor Payne. Discussion. Oh, have you got something?
Yeah, no, just with an amendment that I was there, so I'm not noted in the present. But I do see I passed.
You were there. With that noted, all those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? And then regulatory and community committee minutes.
Happy to move.
Move Councillor Finch, seconded Councillor Phelps. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against. Thank you for that. Over to risk and assurance, which Councillor Herbert is moving and I'll second. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, thank you. West Otago Community Board, noting.
I wasn't there that day, it's got me down as present, but I wasn't there.
Happy to move. Only noting.
Yeah, I'm just, so you're out of it, John? That's what you're saying?
I'm just saying that it's got me down there as present, and I wasn't there. It's just a correction, but happy to second.
Yep, so move Councillor Wildwheeler, seconded Councillor Herbert. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Next one will be Lawrence, no doubt it is. Move Councillor Martin, seconded Councillor Herbert. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, thank you. Youth Council. I'm happy to move both of them for noting. Seconded Councillor Finch.
I was, and then it has me present for the council meeting, but I was there for the pre-council meeting, not for the.
You had a workshop.
Yeah, the initial.
Oh, the induction meeting.
Yeah, I was there for that, but not for the meeting.
So with those changes. Yep, so you got that one. He was done. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Over to page 141, which is my report. Oh yes, so firstly, 3 meetings next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Really appreciated we could get a full turnout. Going through my calendar, I want to thank our acting CEO Dave Wood for his time in there. There are so many Three Waters meetings, and I want you to be aware of that, Steve and I are just constantly for the grouping of 4 and for others, so you'll see quite a few of them down there. Thank you for the opportunity to go to Christchurch. It's LGNZ's a different beast and a weak and wounded beast. When you actually go to one of the meetings and you see how fractious it is. On the 14th of April, I went to the new gold mine up in Miller's Flat. If you ever get a chance, it's unbelievable what they're taking out the ground out there. 25th of April, the last Anzac services, which were, it's got a funny feeling after all these years, but that's all right. I want to thank the Deputy Ken for joining me for a tour of the day, and also to all councillors and to the youth council staff that contributed to what was a really successful Anzac Day. I'll do the round the table statement, Councillor Catherwood.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. On the ground, some drainage and surveyor and a few little issues that have gone on locally in Waka. Helped along with that. Had some great work with some council staff and the contractor, Andrew Woolage. Council committee meetings, and a wonderful Anzac service at our Memorial Hall, annual plan submissions.
Thank you, Dave. Councillor Volweller.
Thanks, Your Worship. Tuesday, 3rd of April, an on-site meeting North West Rural Water Scheme staff members, storage pond. Yeah, you mentioned the local government New Zealand Zone 5-6 meeting, 10th and 11th of April. I think that was well worth going to. The speakers are very good, thought-provoking speakers. They've got the notes there, but I won't read them. I won't go through them now. Anzac Day, of course, Tyrimouth and Milton. What else? Oh, the 2nd of May, I went to the Milton Library. I was asked to do a reading to the preschoolers there. Unfortunately, the staff made a mistake and put my photo up on the on the Facebook, and no kids turned up at all. 8th of May, citizenship ceremony, and 12th, last Monday, was the Tyrimouth Community Society community meeting.
Thank you for that, Bruce. Councillor Martin.
Your Worship, pretty much the council stuff that we've all been attending recently, but quite busy with Te Marawatua with Zoom meetings online. We actually have an in-person meeting next week up north. I've been to, I don't know if I've been here back to Portland, the Taupo. Went to Taupo for one of their hui's up there. It was very interesting. Lot of caution being applied in the North Island with the RMA. Changes that are coming in. Community Board Executive, they've been very proactive. I'm looking forward to their presentation at local government, localism in Christchurch this year. They're doing some really, really good stuff. Community Board Executive. Chilpeka Bursary, and just the normal day-to-days.
Thank you for that, Jock. Councillor Ludeman.
Pretty much just council meetings for me in this last few weeks. It's a bit quiet on it.
Speedy recovery, I hope, Ellie.
Yep.
Councillor Mackie.
The normal council meetings that I've been to, and Anzac Day, I met my Oliver Tunner, who's on the youth committee. Nice young fella, and community board meeting. That's about it.
Thank you, Brent. Councillor Herbert.
Not a lot for me, Your Worship, just the citizenship ceremony last Thursday, which was great. Fantastic, good turnout.
Thank you, John. Councillor Graham.
The normal council staff plus Anzac Day with the youth council. I did attend a workshop and meeting with regional transport last week. Quite interesting. They're trialling point-to-point speed cameras. One of them I suspect is between Waiholder and East Torrey, so if you see something sticking up there, just be wary. They obviously time how long it gets between the 2 points, and if you're a wee bit quicker than that, well, we're going to get some mail. And I attended the contractor night on Monday. Good to network with some of these guys and catch up and know further talk about when the tenders come up, so that was me.
Thank you for that, Bruce. Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, pretty much the same as everyone else, all the council meetings, but extraordinary that the NZ, the Clutha, Kai, Kaka Point. I've had a couple of meetings with Age Concern Exec in Dunedin and Youth Council. We've had several meetings. We've had a meeting, but several workshops. Next week we've got Fast Fives coming up on the 21st. They are jumping off the bar roof on the 23rd, I believe, and on the 24th they're having a bonfire at the radio grounds in Lawrence. So, for any young people that you can talk to and want to go along to that, please give them a bit of a nudge. It's a pretty good thing, but local water done well, came to that meeting, cultural festival, annual plan hearings and citizenship. That's run of the mill.
Thank you, Ken. Councillor McCrusty.
Well, looking forward, standing committee, council, Anzac Day, annual plan, local water done well. And then Monday morning, the whole of residents are basically set up there in pest control. And they had ORC and Mark Patterson come on. And Calder Stewart being involved as well with all the fencing, etc. And they basically outlined the two major areas, which are issues, which is transit and the rail service. And unfortunately, we're whole of town now that they've fenced everything, where the council's going to have to look at a little program around there. Their cemeteries, etc., because the rabbits can't now get onto some of the ground, so they've moved into town. Yeah.
So they're in the borough.
Yeah, so that was it. Thank you, Dean. Councillor Finch.
Thank you. Just all the meetings on the 20th of March, the water workshop on the 25th, 27th, Milton Dog Park, 2nd of April, Tari Mouth Amenity Society, the 3rd Council, then Milton Area Promotions, the 8th, Clutha Foundation Trust, on the 12th, Milton Fire Brigade Gold Star Award, which I presented, 14th Youth Council, the 15th, the Dog Park again, Waihola looking forward, the 17th, Audit Finance Risk at the Museum, 25th, the Anzac, 29th, the Museum Board, 30th, the Annual Plan submission hearings, and then a Dog Park meeting afterwards. The 1st, all the meetings, executive, etc. The 5th, local water done well. The 8th, the citizenship. And on the 9th, Waihola Fire Brigade Gold Star presentation. The 12th, the combined museum museum meeting and Tari Mouth Amenity Society, and the 13th, Clutha Foundation Trust.
Thank you, Gaynor, and thanks for deputising for me at the Gold Stars. Councillor McTammany.
Aside from the other council stuff that has been going on, I think I've had 3 water scheme AGMs and a couple of Clutha Valley Hall meetings. One of them we've got an answer reasonably quickly. It's come up before about the earthquake strengthening, and unfortunately we got delivered a bomb from Becca on a quote for that the other day, so I guess that's for another day.
That doesn't sound good, but thank you. Councillor Phelps.
Thank you, Bishop. Just the usual council committee meetings. Went to the Anzac meeting with the youth councillor. Nice for them to turn up this time. And good turnout. Went to the citizenship. Again, another well run with a great pad at the end. It was always good to hear the stories from the people. It's quite moving, some of them. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you, Wayne. Councillor Kennedy.
All the usual council meetings, community board, Tuapeka Anniversary, local water done well, Clutha House First, West Targa Community Centre, West Targa House, Anzac Day, and I managed to put a hip replacement in there too, so yeah, busy enough.
Well done, we're all falling apart.
Oh, we are.
And thank you, team, for the efforts over the last 6 weeks. Is there any questions backwards or forwards? No questions, got a recommendation on 141, someone prepared to move. Councillor Graham, seconded by Councillor Phelps, all those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, I'll now hand over to our CEO for his report.
I'll take the report as read, Your Worship. Just note we've been getting some pretty sharp prices and contracts recently, which is a good thing.
Thank you for that. Questions for Steve? Councillor Finch?
I just had one, the meeting with Rosebank Industrial Landowners. What was that in relation to?
Yes, through Your Worship, that was just to inform them of the consenting process, which is basically the resource consent for stormwater was finally issued. We wanted to get them all to an agreement on that so that we know appeals and objections so that we can just proceed. We advised them of how that was to be put into effect, the consent. So that was generally just bring them all together so that we could just move into the next phase, which is council more a maintenance phase and just one of the party in terms of future monitoring, future contributions to the cost of monitoring. So all that whole area now is nearly complete. We've still got some physical works to do with one of the landowners in terms of rectification of the landfill, but once that's done, in terms of slope and batter and removing of the weeds and things like that, once that's done, then it'll be sort of back to what had originally been intended to be when we first did the development. So it's nearly there.
Thank you. And the meeting with the ratepayer at Waipori Falls, what's that in relation to?
Yes, so through Your Worship, I didn't go to Waipori Falls. The ratepayer came here. That's just to do with the complaint matter.
Right, okay, thank you.
Councillor Graham?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Steve, you said these contracts are some of them pretty sharp, the prices. And I noticed there's one there, it's about a third of the engineer's estimate. And considering some of our past experiences where the price has been that good that it's been a bump, how close do we look at something that's a third of the engineer's estimate?
I mean, just in general, I mean, I think you would look at it based also on the number of tenderers. So, like if there's a good number of tenderers all tendering at a relatively, consistent price that hasn't got a huge spread, then you'd probably argue that there's potential an issue to look into around what the engineer's estimate was based on. If you only had one tenderer, then you might have a different, more close look at it in that sense. But I do assure you that the team that does the tender evaluations, I mean, they'll be concerned with all that sort of things. They'll know what the estimate is, and they'll be testing it against the estimate before they come forward with a recommendation to approve.
So that this particular one, under a third of the engineer's estimate, to me that would put up a flag that something's missing or something's not. When you're talking $400,000 difference, but I trust you. I trust them. It's just that.
Well, through you, you don't have to trust me. Which was the item, councillor? Because we could just check in with Donna whether there's any recollection around that particular one. Which was the item you talking about?
Contract 897.
Richardson Water Supply Pipeline Renewal. Yeah.
Through you, Worship. So that's part of our package for a whole number of pipeline renewal projects across the district. And Ahmed is our project manager on that one. Now I'd have to confirm who that item has been awarded to, because we had multiple packages and they've been awarded to 2 to 3 different contractors accordingly.
That was to Andrew Hawlins, that one.
Oh, there we are. Thank you.
Councillor Finch.
So I just have a question on those as well. If there's any changes or extras, what is the deal for that? Is that already in the contract approved that there's enough for changes and extras, or do we get slammed when that happens?
So through you, Worship, with any contract that we have contractually, we are required that at the time of any variation, which is an extra as an example, hang on, take this. I feel like I'm singing. That's better. So we contractually obligated that whenever a contractor discovers extras or changes, they have to seek a variation for approval. I'm very adamant with my team that all variations must come up through the chain for sign-off by myself first, or if it exceeds my delegations to Jules or Steve, and all variations must align within budget. If they are going to fall over and above the budget, this is, again, we follow the delegation process, whether it comes up to Steve or to council.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Councillor, I have a quick question. So mine's in regard to the request received on the Official Information Act. A couple of questions. I think there's 8 there from a member of the public. Do we know by chance if that's one person that's made all 8 of those?
No, Your Worship. There may be that there's a member of the public doing more than one, but my understanding is member of the public is just a descriptor for a category of person.
And there's 2 there that actually shouldn't even be accepted. The one regarding the deputy CE's salary and the staff numbers and remuneration packages. That shouldn't be. That should just be there's no information available on that, surely. It's personal information.
Through Your Worship, we don't have a choice about receiving requests for information. We do have flexibility as to what we choose to provide, but and that'll be in the response. So we still have to respond, even if we're refusing to provide information.
I hope so. I hope that's the case.
Steve, just one question from me. In the tenders, I've never seen so many people, downloaded, and also the number of tenders. Is the contracting environment changing? We used to get 2 or 3 tender documents uploaded, and here's 40 or 50 of them.
We're coming together.
So, Worship, sorry, what was the question?
So over the years, 2 or 3 documents, 2 or 3 tenders come in, and I'm looking here like there's 47 prospective tenders, and another one that's 49 and 29. What's happening? Something's changing, or is it just a reporting thing?
For you, Your Worship, I'd like to say the great work of my team.
Marvellous. That's the opportunity I wanted to give you. But something, because if you think there's only so many out there, where are all these contractors coming from?
So through Your Worship, the contractor evenings that we hold annually, that gives the contractors the opportunity to look at the program that we're intending to put forward. It allows them time to allocate their resources accordingly. We work really hard with our scoping, and I interact very closely and network with the contractors. We've changed our processes, predominantly being that all tenders have to come in through GETS, which is our government electronic tender system, versus historical ways the process was done prior to me starting at this council. So we've changed our processes, we've changed the way we communicate with the contractors, and accordingly they want to be involved.
Nice. Well done. Congratulations. Question? No? Any more questions then? Councillor McCrosty.
Just the fibre cable for Greenfield, some of that's getting replaced, is that damaged being put in?
So through Your Worship, we are currently still in the defects liability period, and there's discussions occurring with the contractor.
So we won't have to pay.
All I can comment is discussions occurring.
So, sorry, just to confirm, the issue is with the duct, not the fibre at this stage.
Any further questions, or can Donna sit down? Thank you, Donna, appreciate it. Got a recommendation back on 145. Move councillor Graham, second councillor Finch. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, thank you. Documents for consent and seal. I will move. Someone seconding. Councillor Ludeman. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against. Now, I'm going to dispense, I think, with moving into non-public, but can someone start waving their hand frantically at me if you've got a lot of questions and I'm going to have to go in. I've been talking with Julie and it is just the accepting of the minutes. I see no point in going into non-public and slowing it down by another 6 weeks. So unless there's any questioning, I will take it in public and move that their true and correct record is someone prepared to second. Seconded councillor Payne. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? That brings the meeting to